The scandal had been building for months. Whispers in Westminster, questions in Bangladesh, money trails stretching across continents. Then on January 14th, 2026, it finally exploded. The committee room was packed that morning. Journalists everywhere, cameras positioned at every angle, the atmosphere electric with anticipation. This wasn't just another corruption allegation. This was billions. This was family. This was a government minister allegedly helping to steal from one of the world's poorest countries. Jeremy Clarkson sat at the witness table, arms folded. His expression was controlled fury. He'd read the reports, seen the numbers, understood exactly what had happened. Across from him sat an empty chair. Tulip Siddiq had resigned just hours earlier, but the committee had summoned her anyway. She was coming. She had no choice. The committee chair cleared his throat. We are here to examine serious allegations of corruption involving the former city minister and economic secretary to the Treasury, Tulip Siddiq MP. He paused. Ms. Siddiq has resigned her ministerial positions, but remains a member of parliament. She will join us shortly. Murmurs rippled through the room. The door opened. Tulip Siddiq entered, flanked by lawyers. She looked composed but tense, her usual confidence visibly shaken. She took her seat. Clarkson didn't take his eyes off her. The chair continued. Ms. Siddiq, thank you for attending. We also have Mr. Jeremy Clarkson as a witness to provide perspective on matters of public trust and accountability. Siddiq's eyes flickered to Clarkson briefly, then away. Ms. Siddiq, the chair began. Perhaps you could explain the circumstances surrounding your resignation yesterday. Siddiq cleared her throat. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I resigned my ministerial positions to focus on clearing my name from baseless allegations regarding my aunt, Sheikh Hasina, and events in Bangladesh. Her voice was steady but defensive. I categorically deny any wrongdoing. Clarkson leaned forward slightly. The chair nodded. The allegation suggests you assisted in the embezzlement of £3.9 billion during construction of a nuclear power plant in Bangladesh in 2013. Can you address this? Siddiq's jaw tightened. These are politically motivated attacks. I had no involvement in Bangladeshi government contracts. That's not true, is it? Clarkson interrupted quietly. Everyone turned to him. The chair frowned. Mr. Clarkson, please wait to be. She's lying, Clarkson said flatly. The room went silent. Siddiq's face flushed. I am not. You lived in an apartment gifted by officials involved in the nuclear project, Clarkson continued calmly. You accepted benefits from individuals directly connected to the embezzlement. That's not no involvement. That's complicity, Siddiq's lawyer whispered urgently. Mr. Clarkson, the chair said, you'll have your opportunity. I'm taking it now, Clarkson said, his voice hardening, because this is important. He pulled a document from his folder. This is from the Anti-Corruption Commission in Bangladesh. They've been investigating the Rupur nuclear plant project for years. He looked directly at Siddiq. £3.9 billion. Stolen. Yeah, from one of the poorest countries on earth. He paused. And you helped. Siddiq tried to respond. I did no such. Your aunt was prime minister, Clarkson interrupted. She awarded contracts. Money disappeared. Investigators traced some of it to properties and benefits you received. He leaned back. Explain that. Siddiq's expression was furious now. My aunt's government is not my government. I am a British MP who benefited from Bangladeshi corruption, Clarkson finished. The room erupted in murmurs. A Labor Committee member tried to defend. Surely family connections don't automatically imply when you accept apartments and gifts from people stealing billions. It does, Clarkson said sharply. He turned back to Siddiq. You were living in property provided by individuals involved in this scheme. True or false? Siddiq hesitated. The property was a family arrangement, paid for with stolen money, Clarkson stated. That's an allegation? It's a fact, Clarkson corrected. Bangladeshi investigators have documented it. The apartment in Dhaka, the benefits, all connected to corrupt officials. He shook his head. And you sat in the British Treasury, making decisions about financial policy, while living off corruption. The silence was heavy. A conservative committee member spoke up. Ms. Siddiq, When did you first become aware of allegations regarding the nuclear plant project? Siddiq glanced at her lawyer. Our reports emerged several years ago. Several years, Clarkson repeated. So you knew. For years. And you said nothing. Siddiq's voice rose. I had no direct knowledge of wrongdoing. You had an apartment, Clarkson said flatly, given to you by people involved in 3.9 billion pounds disappearing. That's pretty direct. He pulled out another document. This is from the Bangladeshi investigation. It lists properties connected to the embezzlement. Guess whose name appears? He looked up. Yours and your family's. Siddiq's face had gone pale. Those properties were legally acquired with illegally obtained funds, Clarkson interrupted. He gestured broadly. Do you understand what 3.9 billion pounds means to Bangladesh? It's hospitals, schools, infrastructure, stolen from people who desperately needed it. His voice grew quieter but more intense. And you benefited. You lived in luxury while Bangladeshi children went without health care. The room was absolutely silent. An SNP member spoke quietly. Enes Siddiq, why didn't you declare these benefits when you became an MP? Siddiq shifted uncomfortably. I declared all relevant interests as required by parliamentary rules. Did you declare the apartment? Clarkson asked. A pause. The situation was complex. Yes or no? Another pause. Not initially? So that's a no, Clarkson said. He leaned forward. You received benefits from a corruption scheme. Didn't declare them. Then rose to city minister, overseeing Britain's financial sector. He shook his head. How did that happen? Siddiq tried to respond, but Clarkson continued. Who vetted you? Who looked at your background and thought, yes, the person connected to billion-pound embezzlement should definitely run our Treasury? A Labour MP objected. Mr. Clarkson, Ms. Siddiq hasn't been convicted of anything. She resigned yesterday. Clarkson's voice rose. Ministers don't resign over baseless allegations. They resign when the truth is coming out. He turned to Siddiq. Isn't that right? Siddiq remained silent. The committee chair tried to regain control. Perhaps we should focus on what? Clarkson challenged. On how a government that claims to fight corruption appointed someone connected to one of the biggest embezzlement cases in recent history. He gestured to Siddiq. She sat in cabinet meetings, made decisions about Britain's economy, all while investigators in Bangladesh were documenting how her family stole billions. He paused. And nobody noticed, or nobody cared. A Lib Dem member spoke up. Were there security clearances? Background checks? Clarkson laughed bitterly. Excellent question. Ms. Siddiq, were you asked about your family's financial dealings during vetting? Siddiq's lawyer leaned in to whisper. Vetting processes are confidential. That's not an answer, Clarkson said. He looked around the room. This is a woman whose aunt ruled Bangladesh like a personal bank account, who gave apartments to family members, who awarded contracts to cronies, who then funneled money to relatives. He turned back to Siddiq. And Labor made you a minister. Incredible. Siddiq's voice was tight. I am not my aunt, but you benefited from her corruption. Clarkson interrupted. That's the point. He pulled out another paper. Your aunt fled Bangladesh in August 2024. Deposed, accused of corruption and human rights abuses. Hiding in India. He looked up. When did you last speak to her? Siddiq's eyes widened. That's a private family matter. She's a fugitive accused of stealing billions, Clarkson said. It's not private. It's public interest. The room was tense now. When did you last speak to Sheikh Hasina? Clarkson repeated. Siddiq's lawyer whispered urgently. I don't recall the exact date before or after she fled Bangladesh. A pause. After gas around the room. You're in contact with the fugitive? Clarkson stated. She's my aunt. She's a criminal, Clarkson said flatly. He shook his head. You were serving in the British government while maintaining contact with someone accused of embezzling billions, and you see no problem with this? Siddiq's composure was cracking. Family relationships are complicated. Corruption isn't, Clarkson interrupted. He stood up. The cameras followed him. Let me explain something to everyone watching. 3.9 billion pounds. That's what disappeared. He paused. In a country where millions live on less than $2 a day, where children die from preventable diseases, where infrastructure crumbles, his voice hardened. That money could have built hospitals, schools, water systems. It could have saved lives. He pointed at Siddiq. Instead, it went to palaces, luxury apartments, offshore accounts, and this woman's family. The room was utterly silent. And somehow, Clarkson continued, she ended up in the British Treasury, making decisions about our economy while living off stolen Bangladeshi money. He looked around. How? How does this happen? A young conservative MP stood suddenly. This is disgraceful. Labor appointed her knowing about these connections. The chair banged his gavel. Order. But the anger was real and building. She should be expelled from Parliament. Criminal investigation. The chair banged repeatedly. Order. This committee will maintain order. It took several minutes to quiet the room. When it finally settled, Clarkson spoke again. Quietly now. Ms. Siddiq, I have one final question. Everyone waited. Do you think the people of Bangladesh deserve their money back? Silence. Siddiq's mouth opened slightly, then closed. 5 seconds. 10:15. The situation is complex, she finally stammered. It's not complex, Clarkson said quietly. It's theft. He picked up his papers. 3.9 billion pounds was stolen from people who desperately needed it. Your family took it. You benefited from it. He looked directly at her. And you have the nerve to claim you did nothing wrong. Complete silence. Siddiq sat frozen, unable to respond. The session ended shortly after. MPs filed out in shock clusters. Journalists rushed to their stations. Within an hour, the footage dominated every news channel. Social media exploded, but one moment played on repeat. Tulip Siddiq, unable to say whether Bangladesh deserved its money back. Jeremy Clarkson, having exposed the corruption at the heart of Labour's government. And across Britain and Bangladesh, millions watching, finally seeing the truth. The money was stolen. The family benefited. A British minister was complicit, and everyone now knew it.